we all have good days and bad days. So sometimes, we're literally gliding through life, enjoying ourselves, and we have a positive outlook. Another moment, maybe even seamlessly out of nowhere, it can seem like almost like life's lost, no, lost cause, really. Um, and things are just mounting on you, and nothing's really fair. And effectively, sometimes you might even feel like, even if things are fair, it's just like life's a bit boring. It's stagnant. What's the point of all of this? And even if you had something you dream of, is it really going to be the thing that changes your life? Is it going to make that much of a difference? Eh, Everything's a wonder, really, isn't it? So, like for instance, I've been on quite a good mood recently. I mean, quite buoyant, positive about my outlook on life. But inevitably, like there's something that compounds upon us, isn't it? Like it could be relationships, it could be friendships, it could be connections, it could be jobs, it could be finances, all sorts of things, really. With me, it's often finances are the things that really start to sort of impact me, and then I get really, really, I can get quite petulant, and I can make, in all honesty, I usually make quite well calculated decisions. Sometimes I can be ridiculously reckless. Well, I wouldn't say ridiculously, but yeah, I can make some maybe questionable decisions with finances. Like even I look and think this is mad, but it's like I'm fed up having nothing. So there's a consequence, and of course, it's more long term than short term, and such is life. Um. So yeah. Anyway, so like even in my own life, I get really really fed up. So yeah, last night I was really on a bit of a argument with the universe, really. So I share a lot of life in general. Sometimes I share my spiritual aspects. Sometimes I don't. Again, I say a lot. I don't like forcing things on people. This one's going to have a bit of a spiritual dynamic because I'm going to use my tarot cards. I'm going to use another camera in a minute just to show the cards on the desk as they come out so you can see. Even though I shouldn't really need to validate, but it helps. Um, so yeah, anyway, so because I'm spiritual, you can see that there. I get really argumentative with the universe. Like I get really, really annoyed in so many areas because life can get lonely, man. I'm all right on my own. Like I can cope fine. I can entertain myself. Almost like there's a healing journey that's involved. So it's really important that we do detach from others for a period of time, really with the weight of other people, so we can get back to ourselves and figure out what it is we want, align with that, and then start making decisions really that are for our best interests rather than constantly being pushed away from perhaps our purpose or life dreams because we end up living someone else's. So it doesn't really serve as a purpose, but of course, for too long, it gets incredibly lonely. And then you start thinking, well, what is the point of all of this? I get a lot of positive signs, but for me, it's after a while, it's like, you know what, I don't. The signs aren't changing my life, though, man, are they? You know what I mean? Um, and I get things like, well, that's weird. Now I'm only just shuffling pop. This ain't an official shuffle. This one, it's just I was just turning the cards around. I had them facing me, but I weren't really looking at them, and I was just moving the cards around, and then these two just fell together. And I just thought, so the reason I laughed is because I just thought it does typify, doesn't it? Because the camera's reversed, I think. So if you look at it that way, the first one coming out is the sort of like your finances are frozen, you're just stuck. But the Empress, that's literally who you are, And if anyone's going to get out of that situation, it's the Empress because she was never supposed to stay there. So that's interesting. Again, I'm saying that's not an official shuffle. It was just that, but it was strange how they come out together, and especially me talking like I am. And that's really why I'm going to shuffle while I talk when I'm officially properly doing it, because I want Spirit to interject. This effectively becomes almost like a love song, I guess, but it's more like I don't know what you'd call it, but it's almost like an intimate conversation between me and Spirit, and people get to watch in and see how they react to me. Sometimes they're going to put me in a place. Sometimes they're going to validate something, and sometimes they're going to point me, in a way into the future, sort of like this is what you can expect. It's all part of a plan. But it does get heavy, and I'm not here to sugarcoat anything and pretend it doesn't. It does get heavy. It gets really lonely. It can get incredibly demoralizing. But I pick myself up all the time, and it's not always through the divination, through the cards. It's just an innate feeling in myself. Just get on with it, mate. And then I start to feel good about myself because I do love who I am. So at basic core, I always have me, and I think that's a good place to start. And then I realized, there's things I enjoy, so then start focusing on that. And then again, you start going back, but you end up on a loop because after a while, you do all the right things and you're trying to help people, and then your life isn't really improving in your personal life in all areas, you know. So okay, you're evolving, and perhaps it's influencing people in a positive way, but life itself doesn't really improve on sort of my timeline. At least it doesn't seem to be. And then you just think, what's the point? And again, that's where that bit petulant side comes out, and then maybe make a reckless decision with finances that it may impact other areas of my life in the future. Because look, these are not big sums of money, but when you're not really doing particularly well, it's a bit naive and a bit reactive, I guess. So I'm gonna have to turn my keyboard off actually, because I'm gonna end up pausing without meaning, or stopping the recording by accident. Where's this switch? But anyway, yeah, a card just come out while I was doing that, and it was kind of like pointing towards it. But effectively, you're waiting for things to bloom, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to show talk about some of the things I spent my money on recently, and it is dumb. I ain't here to say it ain't. It's stupid. I'm not. I definitely ain't. I definitely wouldn't be someone's financial advisor, but I don't pretend to be great with money. But I'm getting better. But I have my moments. That's the thing, isn't it? But it's because you've got to look at the I think if you look at the circumstance, I think it'd be easy to understand, personally. Because if I weren't in a circumstance, I probably wouldn't make that decision. But I am in this situation. And it's all right, maybe perhaps something changing in the interim, like in the short term, even the long term. But it hasn't happened yet, and it hasn't happened for a long time. So I could put my desires on hold, like I often do. And then like years and years into the future, nothing's really changed. So why have I deny myself something because I think it might affect someone else, but then it's like, but that's something that someone else or that situation doesn't manifest. It doesn't happen yet. So what's the point? So it's asking myself, can you handle this in the interim? Like if on your own, can you and then it's like, well, that makes me a little bit happy. So it's worth it. But if you're talking numbers and you're talking like, is it wise? No, not really. It's a bit dumb. But yeah, I'm going to get onto that, and I'm going to show. So I literally just asked Spirit about something because I just ordered something last night. Because like I said in another video, like I've been rebuilding my credit, so I can get some things financed. And it's not the best finance because it's still growing. But I did ask Spirit about a specific item. Should I keep the order? Because I can cancel it before it gets dispatched. And it pointed towards, I think it was the Queen of Cups, which I thought, that's nice. But then it was the Five of Cups as well. I think it's 5 or 4 cups. And I thought that shows disappointment. But you could interpret that in so many ways. Is it the fact that it was slightly confusing in that sense? Because is it a case of you receive it and it doesn't fulfill you? Because that's kind of what it was pointing to. Or is it the fact that you feel guilty for having it? And again, that was the two meanings I was taking from it. And I thought, either way, not particularly great. But then I thought, like, yeah, sometimes I get disappointed if I can't. Like, if I was to keep it, you think that's potential. You might get disappointed with it. You might get bored. Blah blah blah. But also sometimes when I cancel something, I get just as disappointed that I didn't have it. So I asked, conversely to that, I actually asked, should I cancel the order? They wouldn't answer me. And I kid you not, like if they don't want to answer something, they won't. And there was a reason to that, because they want me to figure it out for myself. So yeah, that's that one. Yes. Anyway, and then when we talk about relationships and things, we always have someone in mind, and it gets frustrating. But I don't want to go too deep into all of that. Really, it's just a culmination in my life. It's not just one thing. It's just a culmination. So finances are not blooming. Relationship, nothing there. Very isolated. But I'd rather be on my own than with the wrong people. Let be clear. I'm not desperate. This is not through desperation. This is just me being transparent. There's no point. I'm not even saying encouraging. There's no point sharing a healing journey, and I always say that missing parts out, because inevitably someone else might invest in themselves. They go on this healing journey. It gets incredibly demoralizing. You can feel low. You can get frustrated and bored, and they might feel like, well, it's different for you than it is for me, and they might feel like they're doing something wrong. It's like, no. On the other side of that is more clarity. It's more growth. So effectively, if you can get through these periods alone, it's like think how strong you are. You're going to have setbacks, your relapses, no matter what it is. And I just have I have addicted mind when it comes to gaming, for instance, or like physical media. I've got to collect something. So if I'm not buying movies, I'm buying games, and it's just the way I am. But not to like a terrible extent. then other people maybe turn to substances and all those things. I think there's always something we're going to attach ourselves to. It's just how much damage does that do, and what is that damage? Um, something I just wanted to show before I get too deep into this. Really, a video come up, and like I said, I get frustrated with the universe, and I get a lot of positive signs, like a lot. Like you're going to be, I get beautiful signs about the future, but even then, I'm like, but I don't care. I just want to be able to be like, I just want to be free. That's all I want, freedom, and freedom does mean financial freedom too. It's just that I don't like keep having to struggle or effectively make reckless decisions, because if I was content in my life, like genuinely content, you had the life you dreamed of, then you wouldn't make reckless decisions because you're already happy. But a healing journey isn't necessarily a happy person. So don't. That's why I always think, don't misconstrue things. I'm evolved. I see things from a higher purpose, I think, than the average person. I don't allow people to take advantage of me. But it doesn't mean, as a consequence, that you're perfectly happy. Because it's incredibly demoralizing living or existing in a very dense, negative world. It just is. So effectively, you can be the light. And I think this sometimes, like, you can be the light for others, but who's the light for me? And that gets demoralizing. If you think about a pyramid, the closer you get to the top, so you reach all your potential, the pinnacle of everything. Like think how pointy that is, how lonely that is up there. It's like, unless you just hang around with people who haven't healed, it doesn't make sense. So before we get onto the cards or I don't know what else I was going to do, to be totally honest. I'm getting confused now. There was someone that reached out to me maybe a year or so ago. Someone from the past who I had a lot of respect for. A medium, they're a gifted medium. They don't consider themselves anything, but they are a medium because they can literally communicate with people who've passed over, especially those who have only just passed, which I think is an incredible gift. Like literally, they've got some incredible stories. And they spoke to me back then about like my stepdad who had passed over, and she said things in a way that it was the way he would talk. So it's not like you would have got that off social media. The way he spoke, that was exactly how she was relaying it. So these little things like that. Again, it's like I'm not here to sort of validate to people, because I can't bother all that shit. I think that's the misconception as well that people have. Like if you're on a spiritual journey, or you have faith and all those things, and you believe in spirit and things, some people want you to prove things. It's like, I'm not here to prove shit. I couldn't care less. I live in my truth. I know what I've experienced, and I'm not a naive individual. So, so they're gifted, but I don't chase anybody no matter their gift. And I'm more than happy to go on my own journey. I'm a bit of an independent person anyway. Like, I'm incredibly independent. I'm bordering, and I know I am, I'm bordering on hyper independence. That's a risk in itself, because it does mean that I'm used to doing things alone. I'm not really used to collaborating, and the more I get into my journey, the longer it goes, the less likely I want to collaborate with people, because I just see other people's hands as a negative influence. It's like, it's fine, I know I can create anything on my own, because I've proven it to myself time and time again. So I don't actually need the influence of others on any of the work I do. So it's just like, it's fine. Just let me. I don't care if it takes me longer. I'd rather do it my way. That's good and bad. So yeah. Anyway, the longer we go on an independent journey, the more independent we become. But anyway, this person, like I said, I had a lot of respect for, but they reached out to me about a year or so ago. I can't remember exactly when. It might even be sooner. But we hadn't spoke for like 5 years. And I move on. I close chapters. So it was interesting. It was like nice to hear from them, but I'm a different version of me that exists now than I was back then. So the problem is, a lot of people, they talk to you as you are, as if you're that person. And I was at an infancy stage of my development. So maybe they thought I was that, like, this little novice. Think of it like a Star Wars. You're like the little Padawan. But now I'm a Jedi Master. I'm not going all Star Wars. It's just I literally just started watching Star Wars recently, and I saw such a deep connection with spirituality. I was like, holy crap. So my beliefs are not influenced by Star Wars, because I never liked it, but it was just interesting to see a different way of interpreting, really, and putting these things to this. Nine of Swords. Don't know why that came out. It's probably about the situation with the person, actually, weirdly enough. Yeah, so they reached out to me, and I was like, I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but my mind, I was focused on different things. If you look at me, I'm always doing projects. It's always something. And if I don't answer someone straight away, it's because I'm probably doing something. I'm not an ignorant person. Or it might be it's a very deep conversation that I'm not really ready for at that moment. So I'm not getting into it right now. So anyway, yeah, they reached out. And then it wasn't even long. It was like, because I'd left it a couple of days just because I was trying to work. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know I was busy. And it's like, when I'm ready to sit down, I'll answer and I'll go deep. I'll have a good conversation, you know? I mean, I've had people reach out to me, strangers as well. Like, the people will be able to attest to that. If I get a message, I will respond to it when I can. Like, sometimes it is straight away. Depends on if I'm busy that moment, you know? So there's people that know that I do actually, well, you know, where I can, I will. And that person then sent me another message nudging me. Like, and I thought, the way they did it, I just thought, that was bloody rude. Like, I thought, I don't care how much I respected you in the past. I don't know if people treat me like that. And I was actually going to get round to answering them very soon after, like, before they did that. I'm not saying that just because they did it then. And no, I was thinking, it was on my mind. Don't forget about that. I've still got to deal with it. And then because they were nudging, I thought, that's bloody rude, mate. I don't have people poke me. You don't just keep poking. You said it once, let it be, and I'll answer you when I can. Don't think I'm just your toy that you just answer. Like, I haven't got nothing else to do. So I didn't answer him in the end. I just left it. That's the last time we spoke. We had a couple of message exchanges. Then they sent a long message that I wasn't ready to answer just at that moment. And then they poked me, and I just thought, no, I don't put up that shit in my life. I don't need clingy people that are just going to keep freaking prodding and shit. It's like, no. You just get on with your journey. We had a good moment, and that's the thing with me. I don't carry everything throughout my whole life. I don't owe anyone anything. They don't owe me anything. If we're not aligned in this present moment, then we're not aligned. Just because we had a connection, a friendship in the past, doesn't mean that friendship carries on from my whole journey. And it's not personal. It's just we're different. So them triggering me like that, I just thought, no, we're just different now. And I made peace with it because I was feeling that when they reached out anyway. Because sometimes with time's past, you're just different people. It is that, you know, some people just think, I think reality, some people don't evolve and you do. And then the version that existed with them, that doesn't exist anymore. So they're just trying to gravitate towards something that's no longer there. Like an innocence. But anyway, I don't know. I was going to do the tarot cards, but I don't really know what I'm going to ask because I haven't asked Spirit a lot of questions for a while. I go through periods of my life where I'll ask them quite a lot. We'll have like exchanges for days on end, and it's fun. And I'll have these spreads, and it'll like be connected to this. And I know what my destiny is, what's coming. Then I go through periods where I don't want to know anymore. Let me just get on with whatever I'm doing. It's effectively still got to get on living, you know. And then something might happen. I might get a sign. I'm not sure if I just showed this video. We'll show it. So bear in mind my frustration at the moment with the universe. The fact that, in all honesty, I get told a lot, I get signs a lot that you're going to be in the spotlight, people are going to look up to you, you're going to have a lot of respect, people are going to have a lot of respect for you, blah, blah, blah. I don't ask for any of that shit, you know? I don't really care about popularity. I don't even care. I don't even care if I just literally live a very modest life and people just read my work and they don't get my time. I don't really care. I don't do it for the attention, you know. Like I said, all I crave in my life, the only thing is freedom. So that's freedom to do what I want when I want, but it's also financial freedom, of course, because it's really, really frustrating when you're poor all the time. I don't hide from it. I'm not here to sort of like act like I'm wealthy because I hate that when people do this social media shit. They pretend they're wealthy and you know they're not. Like, I'm poor and it gets frustrating. So I make some reckless decisions. So recently I've been getting a few gadgets. I'm not going to do it with the cards, just talk now. I've been getting a few gadgets. So I got a PS5 on. It was like a loan finance, which I don't like. I'd rather be paying the money and then at the end of the last payment, you own it. This isn't the case. You have to make the payments. And then at the end of the cycle, you have to then buy it for whatever rate they value it at now, or return it, or you can keep making the payments. And it's like, oh, that's terrible business. But when you haven't got any other choice, and the only choice then is to save and wait, at my rate at the moment, it's gonna take me ages. So I'm like, sorry, I'm gonna get that. And then I've been paying it. So for I think I've had it 5 or 6 months. The PS5, and I've had them in the past. I'm pissed off with myself. This is the thing with me. And again, I'm so transparent. I've built over the past, let's say, our past 5 years. I've had 2 gaming PCs, both of which I built, both very expensive. One of which had a graphics card for £900. And at those periods, I was making good money at decent jobs. So I'm building these computers when I've got this money coming in. At one point, I had a PS5, an Xbox Series X, and a Switch, and things like that. While I was working, I had all those nice things. Literally, I didn't want for much at that period. It's still like, it's not like he was rich, but I just had enough money that I can have a few things. Then I sold them because sometimes I leave those jobs to write my books. I sacrifice a lot for what I do, and I lose most of what I have. It gets really demoralizing. Could you have this, and then you lose it all, and it's like the sacrifice, you know? And then guess what? I crave it again. I'm like, this isn't fair. I get fed up. I'm like, why do I have to lose everything? Why the hell do I have to be the saint? The rest of the people, so many people in the world are toxic, and they have everything, and they don't worry like I do, and it sears on you. You know, I'm not a vengeful person. I don't like wish for others not to have, but I wish that I could have something nice. So you keep going through. You go through life. You're like, okay, well, I feel grateful. You know, at least I've got this. That's what you do. You convince yourself. And you are happy, you are grateful, of course, but it's like you're convincing yourself you have enough. And then as soon as you have something small, even just something like a new film, anything, you just have something new to yourself. And I personally feel guilty for it because it's like, I can really afford that. Should I get? I mean, what a pathetic way to live at times, you know? And then I can't help but think, well, there's people out there that are freaking going, like, eating out expensive luxury restaurants, lobster and all that shit. They don't care about any of that crap. And there's some of us are sitting here counting the pennies. So like, that's why I said about the petulant side. I lose my shit sometimes. And I just think, nah, this world sucks. That I've had enough. I've had enough of being the patsy. I've had enough of being the idiot. Like, I work my arse off and I get nothing in return. I'm always suffering and sacrificing. So this is where it's stupid because I already own these bloody things. And I don't like owning too much at once because it drives me nuts. But anyway, so recently I got a PS5 on finance. It's a 2-year finance. At the end, I either have to return the thing, keep paying, which obviously I won't do, or buy it outright. And that's going to depend on how much they say it's worth. Inevitably, I know that each item I buy is going to be considered like interest. It's almost like nearly double some of them for the price of it is worth. That's really stupid. Like I said, that's reckless. A PS5 is a £500 item. Could end up paying £700, £800. So that's a joke, you know. But it's a lot easier to pay it in the smaller monthly payments now at the moment than it is for me to go and buy another one now. And it's like I don't want to keep waiting. I want to just sit on the sofa and play some bloody games. I already have a big. The thing is, like, as reckless as that is, on all the devices I have digital games that I own because I've had the consoles before. So you get that, all of a sudden I've got a big library of games. So it's like you just keep re-accessing them, you know. So oh yeah, I forgot I had all that. That's great. So it's not like you're starting from square one. Then I recently got a Nintendo Switch 2, which I really wanted that at launch, but then I was like, the game's expensive. So you're justifying to yourself, it's not worth having it. Even though I'm only thinking, I've been waiting a while for them to release that because I've had a few Switches in the past, but always like returned them because they're just too weak now. They're old. So when the new one was like announced, it's like, I'd love to have that. Oh, look at me, the pathetic moron who can't afford that either. Like, you know what I mean? The world's going round here. Everybody else is having shit, and there's a moron here. I can't have anything. And I've worked my ass off, like, selflessly. Like, the things I do, I don't get anything. For the videos I do now, I don't get paid for this. This is free. Every video I do is free. It's mad, isn't it? And you've got people out there making fortunes doing what they do, and I'm not a sellout. But my life's incredibly hard. So yeah, so I get the Switch on the same sort of finance deal, but fortunately the other one's a 2-year deal, this one's a year, which I think, obviously, the shorter the term, the less you're paying overall. So let's say it's a £400 device, it's probably going to cost me about £600 in total. So, you idiot. But at least, you know what I mean, but I'm convinced this time next year my finances will be a lot better. I'm convinced of it, because I'm not staying like this shit for long. It's not happening. Even if I have to go back to traditional work, doing my warehousing and stuff, which I've outgrown like shit. Like I don't even feel comfortable in them environments anymore. But there's no way I'm being like this in a year's time. So I'm thinking to myself, well, you can effectively, whatever they say the price is, which it won't be more than the value of the item anyway. I'll be able to pay for it then. So you could argue, you could wait till then and just pay that, and you don't pay anything now. But I'm thinking, no, but I'd like to be able to use it now, and it's not that much money every month. But this is where things are adding up. So then yesterday, I was like, I missed my handheld gaming one obviously the Switch is a handheld, but you can dock it to your telly. But I also missed my PC one. I've got a lot of PC games, like ridiculous amount. And that wasn't available before. It wasn't coming up on this list of items. And then all of a sudden, there was one available. And I thought, that's a tricky one because I know overall it's going to cost a lot of money. because it's a 2-year deal. I mean, I know we're digressing here. I'm just showing where I'm at. I know this might bore people. I'm just being transparent. So it's a 2-year deal, and at the end, they're probably going to overprice this thing as well. So do you keep it in 2 years? I don't know. And that's the thing I was thinking about cancelling. I'm not sure yet. Spirit doesn't want to answer me on it. So we're going to just do this video quickly while I'm sitting here yapping. I've probably got way too long. So bear in mind the way frustration I'm feeling. And now let's see what she says, because I can't even remember. I've gone on so much. I'd only listened to it briefly, and I was just like, oh, that makes sense, considering how pissed off I was last night. Because you see, I mean, the debt I'm putting myself into to a degree, that isn't just now, it's something that I've got to pay full price for the items after. See, the money you're paying monthly doesn't even make a difference to the value of the item. So, like, if you could get it some other way, you'd make the payments and you own it at the end. With my one, it's like you make all the payments and then it's whatever the item's value is at the end. It's like, what? That's ridiculous maths. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it having nothing over it, man. I'm sick of it. It's a joke. Anyway, you can see how pissed off I am in the recklessness. I said I make reckless decisions. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's calculated, believe me. I've looked at it and I'm rationalising it. Let's put it that way. It's not wise, but I've rationalised it. I've made peace that for a period it's this much a month. In a year's time, for instance, the Switch 2, well, I would just buy outright. So then the monthly payments are less because that's no longer being paid for. And then the year after that, you either buy or return the other two items. But that's where I've made peace with. Reckless, eh?
This period of isolation and solitude and really this hermit card energy has not been for nothing. And your spirit team really, really wants you to know that, because in this time you have spent an abundance of time healing your inner child. And a lot of people don't even do this. And it's what holds them back from their greatness, from the access to their abundance. So I know it can be lonely and it can be exhausting and it can be tiring, but the fruit that you're going to bear from this time that you've spent with yourself is literally, you can't get this anywhere. Exclusive. Only you can give it to you. And this is a really big time for you. Like, two major arcana cards. We have the Hermit and the Moon. Like, talk about digging deep. Talk about healing the root cause of what's happening in your life and what you're attracting into it. And there was a reason that your spirit team needed you to do this. Confirmation. They wouldn't just isolate you for no reason. And
To interrupt there, well, I was arguing with the universe last night as well about the purchases and things like that. I said, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm always analysing myself. That's psychotherapy, whatever you want to call it. I know exactly why I do what I do. And it's a distraction. And I know that. And I said that. I was saying it to them, to my guides, to this to universe. I know what I'm doing is distracting me from the mundane. I'm just fed up. So if you'd just given me something, like something to just be excited about, something to be happy with, I wouldn't even be wasting my time with these things. Although I obviously enjoy them when I'm using them, but if there was other things in my life, I probably wouldn't be bothering, or at least to the extent I am. But it's filling a void, and I know it is. So, although perhaps reckless decisions, it fills a void, and I'm like, well, what's the alternative? A void is not filled. What do you want me to do? You know. So no, I'm trying to make the point here that nobody's perfect. We're all going to go through something in life, and sometimes we're going to do things that are just maybe other people consider reckless, and perhaps is. Most of the time, probably is. But if it's going to help us for a period, then it helps us for a period. You know, it's a bit like where I'm not saying all women, of course, but it's just like a little analogy. It's a bit like where a woman, maybe she goes and buys herself a new pair of shoes, a handbag, gets herself some fresh makeup, and does a beauty treatment and things. It just wants to feel pretty, just wants to feel really good in that moment. And who cares about the cost? It's the same thing. You know, I think as guys, or at least like me, I'm a bit more simple. So I'm going to get things other people think a waste of time. Yeah. Anyway, these two cards just flipped. So that was that feeling good about yourself, isn't it? Because that's like beautiful. That's beauty. That is. That's attractiveness. It's sexuality and all those things. But you've also got like filling all your cups up, trying to fill your cups up too. So yeah, I think that's the thing. It's not always going to be the best of decisions, but if it makes you feel good, you know. But I do worry because, of course, if like for instance you end up in a relationship or anything, my situation that I'm creating at the moment is like a 2 year cycle. So but you can't keep waiting for things.
In this time, you have healed your heart space so much. The point of being here is to be free and to love, right? And you can do that now. You can do that, and you can
That's weird, isn't it? It's the point of being is free. And I keep saying I crave my freedom.
magnetize everything into your reality that you want to. And you've learned the way to protect it, to allow it to feel what it needs to feel and not be belittled for it, not be reprimanded for it. And I feel like that's just confirmed with the Seven of Wands. Like, she is in her own aura. Like, no one can face her. No one can face him. Like, these, what are these? She's not even looking because she's activated from that heart center. She's activated from her heart center. You've done the inner work.
So I was just trying to look at the different card really, because that card doesn't represent the same look, but that's the same as the one with the globe where they're protecting yourself. That's kind of what that one looks like. So it looks very different. I prefer the other deck that she's got. I've got that somewhere else, that deck as well. I'd like this deck, but some of the cards I think are better on the other deck. That's exactly the same thing. And defend yourself. Protect it. Yeah.
And it wasn't for anything, for nothing. It wasn't just for your guide's entertainment, okay? You did the inner work so you can attract more, so you can become more, so you can leave a legend behind, so you can leave your legacy behind, so you can leave the lessons you've learned behind, so you can leave your abundance behind for your family. Like, this I know.
Pretty mad, really, because I've been talking about that a lot, about leaving. I don't care about legacy and being a legend or anything like that, but it is leaving things behind or use your healing to help other people by sharing that story. And that's exactly what she just said, which is really uncanny. Bear in mind the argument I've had in the universe last night, and I get this first thing in the morning.
Lonely, and it'd be making you want to do some stuff that ain't in alignment. But what you're about to magnetize into your reality, everything will be clear soon. Everything will be clear soon. Hold the faith. I love you. Your spirit team loves you. There's so much love in this universe for you.
I love that
This
bit
period.
because she said about doing things that aren't in alignment. So like maybe not in your best, highest good. And it's like she says, "I see you," and it's like that's weird because that's kind of what I'm doing there with a bit of a reckless finances, a little bit. I'm not overly reckless. Like if you look at the how much it is a month, for instance, the cost, it's not that mental. It's not that detrimental. It's more than sustainable throughout the year. Like for the period that that's going on for, it's sustainable. It's not that big a deal. It's like, for instance, I've stopped watching live sports in the UK. We have to pay a TV license, and my bill was quite high with the internet and things like that. And instead, I've just gone to internet only, which is really cheap. So if you put the price of these three devices, the PS5, the Switch 2, and the other gaming thing, it's still less in total. That's still less than the sport package and all that. So if we're talking about like if we compare it to things like that, for me, I would rather have those things than just watching the sport. But if you look at it from the value of the item individually, you are paying more for it, and it's frustrating as shit. It's frustrating, but I can't keep waiting for the freaking world to catch up and be fair. But anyway, so we've done that one with her. Let me see if I can get this camera. I don't actually know what I'm going to ask Spirit anymore. So you can see I've got a little camera in the bottom corner there. That's just really for transparency. You can see I'm shuffling. I'm trying to get it right. I'm trying to not electrocute myself because sometimes I can have a bit of a charge on myself. I think that's a high frequency where you're high vibration. It depends if you're grounded. So like naturally grounded. So in the past, sometimes I'll touch that monitor, the laptop lid, and I'll get shocks. I'll get shocks off everything. Isn't happening at the minute, thankfully. So it must mean I'm grounded in my reality. Well, anyway, that's the way if we take it that way, of course. So I don't really have questions at the moment. Like sometimes I have a lot of questions, sometimes I have none. Because of what it is, I know Spirit doesn't want me to. Doesn't want. It's not everything's for the world. So we'll start off by just announcing the fact that if you don't want to answer anything because this is public, don't feel the need to answer the questions. Even though I can be quite pushy, It's just that because I'm aware of the fact that it is public knowledge, whatever we do now, and it's like, if they don't want me, if they don't want the world to know, but I hope they don't go too silent because that'd backfire on me, wouldn't it? So anyway, I'm going to ask it random. I'm going to ask vague. I'm not going to ask specific names, specific situations. We'll just ask in general and see what comes of. What can I expect in romance in the near future? What can I expect in romance? This is I think it's backfired by not saying because it's public. But at the same time, if it's public, it's public. Oh wow. They're not giving me any much, but they say that you're manifesting. If actually look at all the roses around there as well, which is quite crazy. I've never really noticed that before. So that shows things are being crafted. That's quite mad. Mm. Usually you'd expect to see like all the cups, two of cups, ace of cups, and things like that. But instead, we just got things are being worked on, things are being conjuring. Um, huh. Something is happening. Something's potentially someone is coming. Both times, but kid you not, I've got noise cancelling headphones, so I can't really hear anything apart from the odd little fan. And weirdly enough, both times when I don't know if it's visible under my microphone because it's incredibly noise cancelled too. I've got the cancellation on it so you don't hear externals and stuff like that. But when the magician come out, I heard this, and it's a motorbike. The only reason I know it's a motorbike because I've heard it again as I got this card. So how weird is that? And that's pointing towards something moving forward. So, okay. So, I've waited 8 years. I'm sure I can wait another period of time. So it's not a chariot coming in, but it's something a bit more. Someone's got something to say because they're swords, wasn't it? That's interesting. Right. Okay, wait. What can I expect professionally in career? That came out quite fast, didn't it? That's interesting. I'll see if anything else comes out in a moment, but that's interesting because I don't normally get reversals. They don't usually bounce off reversals. The right way round is this way, the hangman, which is a period of reflection. It's a bit almost like stagnant, really, but you feel like you're stagnant, but you can get out of it. It's more like a moment of reflection. You pause, thinking, but you're tired. Like you're stuck for a moment. But of course, it's not permanent. You're just in a period of stagnation. But actually, that's showing you're unstuck. So what's coming in career is like it's no longer paused. And I felt that for a long time in the universe. I felt that they've kept me stuck constantly. Like, it's not fair. Like, I should have opportunities. I should be doing well. And I feel like I've always been restricted. And it's all part of your growth, of course. And I've had a feeling recently that restrictions have gone. I've had a lot of signs as well point to that. But I felt it in myself. Like, I feel a bit more like there's possibilities now. Whereas before, it just felt like so frustrating as shit. See, I'm just unfulfilled in general, like in my life, beyond the healing and stuff. That's why I'm doing the other slightly reckless things there. But yeah, this looks pointing towards something. Something's changing. I don't think. Again, like I've said, if you don't want to answer me, then don't do it because it's public and they're very vague, aren't they? Usually, they would give me a massive, sometimes a massive spread, sometimes a half decent spread. Now I get one card pulls. Oh wow, wow, wow! So they're not pointing towards what it is because they're keeping it very vague, even for me. But I think because it's public, which is strange, isn't it? But I did say that. So we've got the Hangman, like I said before, but it was in reverse. So that's just reverses because of the way I had it. And then we've got Chariot, which is fast moving. Something's coming in fast. I keep getting signs that something's coming in fast. Again, I haven't asked Spirit because I've not been bothered. I just can't be bothered to ask half the time anymore. Put that the right way round. So within love, something's being created, something's being attracted, something's happening there, and someone's going to come forward potentially. In career, it was you're no longer being held back. So nothing. You're no longer on pause. Something's coming in quick. Doesn't show the extent of that, but again, I've already made it. I've already said if you don't want to say something out loud, um, I don't really know what else to ask because I just don't know what to ask. I've asked so much over the years, you know. I don't have much of an expectation anymore. I just want my freedom. I know a lot comes with things. I've said that before, like in terms of career. If you're in a spotlight, you lose your freedom. You get your lack of privacy. So you get one hand you gain this, the other hand you lose that. It's like, oh, for crying out loud. You know, I don't think I crave the same things the average person does. To be totally honest, I don't know what to ask. Wait, what do my spirit guides think about my recent growth? But it's like literally recent growth, and it's like you're literally, if you look at this, it's like you've put the work in, you're waiting. You know what I mean? Everything's blooming, and it's just waiting to come off. It's like they feel that I've put all the work in. It's harvest season, you know. That's nice. Strength at the bottom. What does Archangel Michael think about my recent growth? Ah, get goosebumps as well. So we had that for the love romance, but he's also got that like you're manifesting something new. If you look at that, it's an infinite of possibilities. If you look above his head, there's an infinite sign. So Archangel Michael, a manifest. So my personal growth is allowing me to manifest something special. What does Jesus Yeshua think about my recent personal like growth? What does Jesus think about my personal growth? Ah, is that you're on an adventure? See, I see that as like free spirit. You're adventurous. You're going forward. Mm. That's the thing. Like some people hang on to certain entities. I appreciate all of them. So like, I love what my guides have got to say because they're with me all the time. I love what Archangel Michael's got to say because he's a huge protector. Um, and it's like he's very, very serious with me. Very serious. Very high expectations. The fact that he feels I have infinite potential, possibilities, and I've created that. Then you ask Jesus, Yeshua, and he always says something nice about me when I ask. Um, what does so the council of light is like perhaps you could be perceived as God, very highly influential. What does the council of light think about my recent growth? Now, bear in mind the council of light are council of light. It's like the highest echelon, so they're going to have the highest expectations and going to be most critical. Oh wow, that's actually really nice. Then, like I said, a bit more serious. But it's like moving away from things that hurt me. You know, you're letting things go. It's like you don't want you no longer carrying the burden. You know, it's like walking away from things. And then there's this innocence here. You got with that, a lot of people put it down to almost like past memories, reminiscing the past, and all those things. But I see it as bringing justice to my life. I'm calling time. It's calling justice. And they've recognised that. Effectively, if you look, they're all pointing towards a new journey, aren't they? Jesus Yeshua is actually pointing to the fact that new adventure. You've invested in yourself for a new path. They're literally saying that here with the Council of Light are saying the same thing in their own way. My spirit guide is saying you've done the work. It's time for you to start receiving something. And Archangel Michael's talking about the fact that you can manifest, create. That's one question I could ask in a minute, actually. So we've done the Council of Light. We've done Jesus Yeshua. We could ask Buddha. What does Buddha think about my recent personal growth? Huh. Overpouring with love. I'm getting goosebumps. Or chill. Mm. So I've invested so much in myself that I love who I am because I've been refining and refining. This is actually really beautiful. You never know how they're going to react. Be honest, especially Archangel Michael and by extension the Council of Light, because the expectation's so high, you know. So I've got a question. Do the angels, the universe, the Council of Light, Archangel Michael, Jesus, Yeshua, everybody, are they waiting for me to continue working on my upcoming books? It's like an innocence to this one. That's quite funny. It's like they just want you to get back up and start fighting. Get back up and start doing it, you know? Actually, and the funny thing is, the swords is actually is communication. Because I know deep down that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know that I've been fighting it all year. 'Cause I haven't seen this progress from this, but there's like, weirdly enough, I had a video come up earlier. Was it last night? I think it was earlier. And it literally pointed towards the fact that I can't remember exactly what it was now, but it was pointing towards something like that. Like do the work, even when it's not, even if it's not like you get to get recognized, even without the recognition. It's like it's almost like there's nothing more important in your life than the things you do, you know. And I thought, yeah, that's interesting. And I know they were waiting for these books. Does Spirit want me to focus on the spiritual book first? That's the no card, but that was in the middle of the deck. That's the one I was going to do. Does Spirit want me to do the politics society book first? That's the Nine of Cups. Politics society. Does Spirit want me to do the personal growth book first? Well, that's a lot of swords. That's very innocence, though. It's all first beginnings. We've got two aces. This one. That's actually really nice. The other one is obviously important, Nine of Cups. You would say, yeah, because that's really going to fulfill. It's like wish fulfillment. But then there's also this one. It's very acey, isn't it? Look at all the swords and the wand there. Effectively, it's what does the world need right now? Hmm. That's interesting. I say, what does the world need right now? And you just see disappointment, conflict. That's all we know, you know? It's like, if you think about the Joker's like a leap of faith. Is it the Joker? The Fall. it's a leap of faith, a new journey, new beginnings. But you've got this despondent energy where you're just fed up. There's like so much conflict, but things moving fast. The world needs hope. The world needs something new. And the problem is when you've got 3 manuscripts on the go, the pressure's immense because it's like, what one do you do first? And I was under the impression the spiritual one, but I just kept thinking, it's like, I really don't know. Yeah. See the 4 Pentacles again when I spoke about the spiritual one. I don't think they want me pursuing that one just yet. For some reason, I thought they did before. And then when I was doing the editing, I was getting more into the other 2. But then every time I went back to the spiritual one, I really liked it. But I want to just be able to, realistically, I'd rather be able to personally get the others out of the way and then dig into the spiritual aspect because I don't always meditate. I don't always do everything I'm supposed to be doing, you know? And when I do, I get visions. It's incredible. But, you know, as you can see with me, my mind's always firing. I've got something else on my mind. I'm not really usually in a Zen state where I'm connecting. So I just follow my intuition and I have maybe a bit more of not as an in-depth connection as you like. Like I can have deep visions and I can have all those things, but I don't pursue that. It's just I'm more than content with just a knowing, if you like. You know, I know I'm guided. I'll always follow what I feel and all these things, and that's enough for me. Even though the potential's there to do even more, it's like I don't feel I need that in my everyday life. But some people get caught up in it too much; they just crave it all the time, and it's like you know that spiritual psychosis, you know, where they go too far with it and they lose sight of reality. And I think that's the worst part. Like you need to be here because that's why we're here. We'll be back at source after our lifetime's finished, but some of us could connect with source while we're here, you know? Things like that. But yeah, I haven't really got much else to ask because we've asked for career. So my daughter was on my mind just then, but I didn't want to push it and I don't want to bother her because I want her to have her freedom. I don't want to think like, is she coming home? When is she coming home? When is this going to happen? But weirdly enough, like your thoughts are still there. They know what you're thinking, and we did get the victory card, which is really, really nice. But you know, it's important she has her life, so I don't really put a lot of that on, really, to be honest. So yeah, there's potential, isn't there? So what we found out there's potential for love, there's potential in career. So things will and likely turn around. Then we had so many beautiful messages from Source. Did the spirit guides, we did Archangel Michael, we did Buddha, we did Jesus, we did the Council of Light. I don't really want to go too deep and personal, really, and in other areas of life at the moment. You know, because sometimes I'll ask about specific members of the family or someone that's passed over and things like that. I'm not really in the mood for it. Because like I say that a lot, like when you connect into source, like some people are just desperate to connect with a loved one that's passed on, and I can understand that. But personally, like I say sometimes I think it depends on your purpose. Like if you get so caught up in this realm, then you're going to be caught up with those that have gone. With me, I'm more interested in, you know, because I see it as like we're all living here, we all get this existence, but when our time's up, your soul go on to whatever adventure it's supposed to next. You know, that we had a time together, and it's fine. It's like you go on your journey, and I'm still on mine. And I'm more, without being rude about it, but I'm more interested in what the universe has to say about my journey because they're the ones I'm reporting to after I've been here and things. And it's like nice to know what they think of it. And like I said, it's a beautiful sign from my spirit guides who are guiding me at the moment. Yeah, sometimes they change, but overall, they think good. And you've got, like I said, Archangel Michael, Buddha, Jesus, and the Council of Light, and it's like it's all positive. So I'm more interested in that side of things, really. But yeah, anyway, I thought I'd show a little bit, really. It does bring me a little bit more peace, to be totally honest, knowing things, and it's just, you just get on a bit more, I think, in life journey. Yeah, like, okay, I get fed up just like everybody else, but it gives you a little pep in your step. Because I know I'm doing the right things, but I've got to get back to writing, I think, again. But it is a grind. If anyone ever thinks doing any of the work is not come with sacrifice, it comes with sacrifice. Like I lose time. You do. Like I know if I put a month of graft, one of them could come out, but it'd be a month of graft, and I'm never in the mood lately, you know, because I'm frustrated on areas of life. But then you've got to think if your life gets busy, you might not have so much time. So why not do it while you've got time? That's the dilemma. But anyway, hopefully that's been some sort of help to people. I don't know if it has, but I just think sometimes I feel like just bearing my soul for a moment, and that's kind of what I just did.